So with this movie, there's a couple reasons I wanted to watch it. It's been on my list of movies to see for quite a while, for especially for like horror slasher films. But this is My Bloody Valentine from 1981, and one of the other reasons that I collect vinyl scores for movies, and there's a couple really good companies that put out a lot of movie scores. And one of the big things they do is a lot of horror films. Like they'll put their movies out, and one of the companies that's really good at this is called Waxwork Records. And I just got a couple of theirs. So this one, like right here, is one for Taxi Driver. Kind of hard to see, but their packaging and everything's really good. Really cool artwork and everything. And they're coming out with the vinyl score and everything for My Bloody Valentine. It's a really cool looking package, and so I wanted to watch the movie and see if I like it. Maybe get that vinyl. So that was another reason I was watching it. But so I threw this on the other day, and like I said, it's from 1981. Apparently, this is like one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite slasher films. It's a pretty good endorsement. And all I knew there was a remake of it, and I think 2009 they did a remake, so that was kind of familiar to me, and I knew the basic premise of miners going around killing people. But the plot is similar to that. There's a place called Valentine Bluffs. Valentine Bluffs, okay. It's in Nova Scotia. I didn't know this was a Canadian film until I turned it on. It's pretty obvious right away because of their accents and everything. So Valentine Bluffs in Nova Scotia, and they're going to have a big Valentine's Day party, and it's the first time in, I think, like 20 years, because the last time it happened, we eventually learned that a miner went around killing a bunch of people because he got trapped, and when the mine collapsed because somebody wasn't taking precautions with security, and so the mine collapsed. One guy that survived was this guy, Harry Warden, and he gets out, he survives, and then he goes and kills a bunch of people that are responsible during their Valentine's Day party. And so the the town, I guess, has never had a Valentine's Day party again because of that. And this is the first time that they're going to have one since all that craziness happened. And lo and behold, they start to throw this party, and people start dying off left and right. So that's the basic premise. And then it's kind of happening throughout the film. People are going missing, people start dying, but then they end up they're gonna shut down the party, they're gonna move all these kids, the younger guys in the town are gonna go to the actual mine and have a party there, and that's where the majority of the action goes down and all that. So that's the basic plot. There's no real notable writer, director, or actors. Like I said, it's a really, really small independent, I think, Canadian film, so didn't recognize anybody. Nobody really went on to do anything else. And I think this is kind of trying to, ride the coattails of Halloween and like Black Christmas, trying to find like a holiday to use for a good slasher film. And so they chose Valentine's Day, of course. And they did a pretty good job. So that's kind of divisive on this because the ending's really good. I liked what they did at the end. It's pretty interesting. The premise of it, like the plot and kind of what is happening throughout the movie, is really good. It's really interesting, I think. But unfortunately, just the acting in the movie just really kills it. The acting's really bad. And like all these guys are just acting so childish. They're acting like 5th or 6th graders, but they're, in their 20s. It's just really strange why they decided to play these roles that way. It just really takes it out. Like, I don't know, it's just like overkill. They're just overacting everything so mujust throughout the acting's just not very good, and unfortunately it takes down the score of what I think could have been a really good movie overall. Like I said, it does have a good plot. The kills are pretty interesting. It's a big thing with slasher movie. Just a random thing I noticed, that is all taking place also on Friday the 13th. So I'm kind of assuming that's a nod to the Friday the 13th franchise. But yeah, they just end up doing weird things throughout the movie. Like they just split up the whole time. They're just continuously splitting up into smaller and smaller groups, and that's just like a big cliche with horror films and slasher films in general. And but yeah, I think it's just so weird because it has a good ending, is interesting, the plot is interesting, and I think it could have been like so good if it had acting that was like a couple notches above like what they got here. I think it would have been really good and successful, but unfortunately, it just drives it down a little bit too much. And well, I was kind of watching this because I mentioned, I was thinking about maybe getting the score, the soundtrack. I didn't notice the music at all, so I didn't. That's not going to be something I do. One, I didn't like the movie as much as I would have liked to, and I didn't even notice the music. So one thing I thought was kind of weird, and this is just like from the version I saw. Whenever it did go into the portions where somebody's getting killed, like the film stock changed. You could definitely tell there's a differentiation between just the regular movie playing and then when somebody's going to get killed, the quality got lower. And I read later that it's because when they did an update to like the DVD and stuff, they updated most of the film, but a lot of the kills are from like a different version of the print, so it's kind of like cut in there, and that's why it's not all. It doesn't all look continuously like smooth, but that's just a random thing from when I watched it. Also, there's one other little nugget that I saw in there. They're doing the knife trick that you might recognize from Aliens, when Bishop puts his hand onto Bill Paxton's hand, he does the knife trick. They're doing that. So, and this is before that was made, so I thought that was kind of interesting. I just wondered if James Cameron and them got that idea from this movie. And yeah, I think that's mentioned everything I wanted to. I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. So I just reviewed another slasher. It was better than that. It's right in the middle for me would be like a 2.5 out of 5. This is I'm giving this a 3 out of 5, and it's almost good. It's almost. I mean, I'd still recommend watching it, especially if you're trying to watch horror and slasher films from the 80s. That's a decent one to check out. And then I'd also heard that the remake wasn't that successful, which is too bad because I think you could have just kind of remade this with good acting, and it could have been a pretty good movie. But apparently that remake wasn't that good. I don't know. I might check it out at some time, but worth a watch, definitely, if you wanted to see an 80s slasher film. So 3 out of 5. Okay, that'll be it.